After Frodo destroys the ring in Mount Doom, when he journeys back to the Shire, he finds that it's been taken over by a man called Sharky. Welcome to Part 19, The Scouring of the Shire, a fan-made expansion by a long-extended party. And I've earned the boon cards Starlight Gem, Bright Mail, Scout's Horn, and Heightened Statue. Each player chooses one and adds it to their hand. If any of these boon cards remain unchosen, one player may choose one of them and shuffle it into their deck. Remove the unchosen cards from the game. And remove Gwaihir and all burden cards from the campaign pool, and attach Grievous Wound from the Road Darkens to Frodo Baggins. Here's all the boons and burdens that I've earned during the campaign. Now, the different boon cards for this quest, I'm going to pick a Starlight Gem and a Bright Mail. And I'm going to shuffle the Heightened Statue into first player's deck. And I'm going to remove Scout's Horn from the game. And Frodo for this quest is a 2/1/2/2 Hobbit. First player gains control of Frodo Baggins. And response: after Frodo Baggins is declared as a defender, spend one fellowship resource to reduce your threat by the attacking enemy's threat. Until the end of the round, that enemy can't take damage. And of the decks I've chosen for this final quest, both Hobbit decks. One's a Messenger of the King. It's a contract. You cannot choose more than 2 heroes during setup. Choose a non-neutral unique ally from your deck and put it into play. Add the sum of that ally's printed willpower, attack, defense, and hit points to your starting threat. Then flip this card over and attach it to that ally. And the ally I've chosen is Rosie Cotton. She's 2 cost. She's a 2/0/0/2 Hobbit. Exhaust Rosie Cotton to choose a Hobbit hero. An attribute of the willpower, attack, or defense, and add Rosie Cotton's willpower to that hero's chosen attribute until the end of the phase. Then I got Falco Boffin. He's a 7 threat. 2/2/0/2 Hobbit. Falco Boffin gets -1 threat for each Hobbit hero you control. Action: discard Falco Boffin to reduce your threat by 7. Limit once per game. And the third hero is Galadriel. She's 9 threat, 4/0/0/4 Noldor Noble. Galadriel can't quest, attack, or defend. Allies you control do not exhaust to commit to the quest during the round they enter play. Action: exhaust Galadriel to choose a player. That player reduces his threat by 1 and draws 1 card. Limit once per round. The other Hobbit deck I've chosen is a Bond of Friendship. It's another contract. Your deck must be exactly 50 cards and include exactly 10 cards from each of these 4 spheres: leadership, lore, spirit, and tactics. You can't include more than 2 copies of any card by title in your deck. When choosing your starting heroes, you may choose 4 instead of 3. Each of your heroes must belong to a different sphere. Now the 4 hobbits, I've got Tom Cotton. He's an 8 threat, 1/1/3/3 hobbit. While you're engaged with an enemy with an engagement cost higher than your threat, the first hobbit ally you play each round does not require a resource match. Response: after a hobbit ally enters play, it gets +2 attack until the end of the round. Then we got Merry. He's a 6 threat, 2/1/1/2 hobbit. Response: after an enemy is revealed from the top of the encounter deck, exhaust Merry to reduce your threat by that enemy's threat. And we got Pippin. He's 6 threat, 2/1/1/2 hobbit. Each enemy in play gets +1 engagement cost for each hobbit hero you control. After you engage an enemy with an engagement cost higher than your threat, draw a card. And the last hobbit is Sam Gamgee. He's 8 threat, 3/1/1/3 hobbit. After you engage an enemy with an engagement cost higher than your threat, ready Sam Gamgee. He gets +1 willpower, attack, and defense until the end of the round. And the starting threat for the Rosie deck is 19. And the Hobbit deck is 30. Draw our opening hand. We'll keep this hand. Going over to the Hobbit deck. We'll keep this hand as well. "1A, many partings. As they came out again into the open country at sundown, they overtook an old man leaning on a staff. He was clothed in rags of gray or dirty white, and at his heels went another beggar, slouching and whining. The return of the king. Set up. Create a Sharky deck. The Sharky deck. See insert. Set aside Saruman, Brandywine Gate, and 3 Farthing Stone, and each side quest. Shuffle the encounter deck." Here's Brandywine Gate, the 3 farthing stone in Suramon. Here's the side quests. Here's the Sharky deck. One B, 0 quest points. You don't care what a beggar lacks, do you? For you have all you want, food and fine clothes, and the best weed for your pipes. Oh yes, I know. I know where it comes from. You would not give a pipeful to a beggar, would you? Saruman, the Return of the King. Action. Exhaust a non-fellowship hero and discard a resource token from its pool. Then add 2 resource tokens to the set-aside Saruman. At the end of the planning phase, advance to the next stage. Draw a card. Elrond's Console. We're going to put the Starlight Gem onto Frodo. Gets 2 willpower and doesn't exhaust the quest. Go over to the Hobbit deck, draw a card, Shire Folk. We're going to put the Bright Mail onto Tom Cotton, giving him +2 defense. We're going to play 2 Shire Folk, and reduce our threat by 8, bringing us down to 22. I'm going to put Ioris into play. Now we're going to exhaust Falco and discard a resource to put 2 resources on the set-aside Saruman. Going to exhaust Rosie and put 2 resources on the Saruman. Exhaust Mary and put 2 resources on the Saruman. Now we have 6 resources on Saruman. Now we go to the next stage. 2A, Escorted Prisoners. After a brief encounter on the road with the disgraced Saruman, Frodo and his companions encounter resistance and hostility from the sheriffs of the Shire. When revealed, make Brandywine Gate the active location and add 3 farthing stone to the staging area. Brandywine Gate. It's 3 threat, 1 quest point, immune to player card effects. Forced. After Brandywine Gate is explored, each player searches the encounter deck for a feathered cap sheriff and engages it. Shuffle the encounter deck. 3 Farthing Stone. X quest points, where X is 3 per player. Immune to player card effects. The players can't travel here unless there are 12 progress tokens on escorted prisoners. Response. After 3 Farthing Stone leaves play as an explored location, each player reduces their threat by 3. 2B. 12 quest points. It's the chief's orders that you're to come along quiet. We're going to take you to Bywater and hand you over to the chief's men. The Return of the King. This stage cannot have more than 12 progress on it. Forced. At the end of the quest phase, if no progress was placed here as a result of questing successfully, the first player raises their threat by 3. If more than 3 progress was placed, each player engaged with 1 or more sheriff enemies may discard 1 of them. The players cannot advance while the 3 Farthing Stone is in play. So we're going to go to the questing phase. We're going to quest for 4, 5, 6. Seven, 8, 9, 10. And there's 1 in the staging area. First card is a Gang of Ruffians. Second card is a Lockholes. When revealed, remove all attachments and discard all tokens from the highest cost ally you control and attach it face down under the Lockholes. So there goes Ioris. So that added 6 to the staging area, bringing it up to 7. So we quest successfully by 3. That clears out the Brandywine Gate. There's 2 progress onto the main quest. And we have to search for a Feathered Cap Sheriff and put 1 into play with each player. And the Hobbit deck readies up Sam, and we get to draw a card. And we're going to travel to the Lockholes. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block the Feathered Cap Sheriff with the Frodo Baggins and spend 1 of its resources to reduce our threat by 1. And it takes 1 damage for exhausting. And we have to raise our threat by 2 because our threat is not higher. And now we're going to block Feather Cap Sheriff with Tom Cotton. No shadow, no damage. And we're going to use Galadriel's ability to lower the threat of the Hobbit deck by 1 and make it draw a card. Go to the end of the round. Raise each player's threat by 1. Draw a card. We're going to put a fast hitch onto Tom Cotton. And since we're engaged with an enemy higher than our threat, I'm going to, the first Hobbit ally I play this turn does not require a resource match. Now we're going to go over to the Rosie deck, draw a card, Warden of Healing. We're going to put Arwen into play. Now we're going to put a Hobbit Cloak onto Tom Cotton. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. We're going to quest for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 13, and there's a total of 5 in the staging area. First card, a Feathered Cap Sheriff. Second card is another Feathered Cap Sheriff. So that total up by 2, so that brings a total of 7. Quest is successfully by 6. That clears out the lock holes. Returns Ioreth to the Hobbit's hand and puts 3 progress onto the main quest. Now we're going to go to the counter phase. We're not going to engage anyone. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block with Tom Cotton. If the attacking enemy is a ruffian, it's not. So, no shadow, no damage. Now we're going to block with Falco. Deal 1 damage to the defending character, or raise your threat by 1. Going to raise our threat by 1, and then give Rosie's 2 willpower to make Falco defend for 2, so no damage. Go to the next round. Before we go to the next round, we're going to have the Hobbit deck draw a card and reduce their threat by 1. Now each player raises their threat by 1. Draw a card. Frodo's Intuition. We're going to put the Warden of Healing into play. Now we're going to go over to the Hobbit deck, draw a card, test the will. We're going to put Odo Proudfoot into play. And he doesn't require a resource match. And we get to search the top 5 cards for our deck for a Hobbit Alley and put it into our hand. That's a whiff. Now we're going to put Halfast Gamgee into play. Now we can add a resource to one of our heroes' resource pools. We're going to give it to Tom Cotton. Now we're going to put Ioris into play. Now we're going to go to the questing phase. We're going to make Tom Cotton, give him Sentinel and +1 defense. We're going to, until he moves this Arwen token, he's going to stay being the one who's targeted. So that's questing for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, because I'm questing with another Gondor character. So questing for 15, and there's a total of 5, 6, 7 in the staging area. Brick buildings. And wooden shed. So that added 2 to the staging area, bringing it up to 9. So we quest successfully by 6. And now we're going to play Elrond's Consul and make that 7. We reduce our threat by 3. And we put 7 progress onto the main quest, bringing it up to 12. Now we're going to travel to the 3 Farthing Stone. Go to the engagement phase. We're going to engage a gang of ruffians with the Hobbit deck. That readies up Sam Gamgee. And we get to draw a card. Hobbit Archer. We're also going to play a Raise the Shire. We're going to get a Hobbit Archer and put him into play. He's a 2/1/1/0/2 Hobbit Archer, ranged. And when he attacks against an enemy that's got higher threat engagement cost, gets +1 attack. And all these hobbits came into play this round, so they all get +2 attack due to Tom Cotton's ability. Now we're going to deal out shadow cards. We're going to block the Feathered Cap Sheriff with Tom Cotton. If it gets, I have to raise my threat by 2. Now we're going to use Tom Cotton to block the other Feathered Cap Sheriff. No shadow, no damage. Now we're going to return Gaffer Gamgee to my hand to prevent the gang of ruffians from attacking. And now we're going to attack back. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, and we're going to destroy the gang of ruffians. Go to the end of the round. Raise each player's threat by 1. And Hobbit Archer returns to my hand. Draw a card. Halfling Termination. Because I'm engaged with an enemy with higher than my threat, I'm going to put Hobbit Archer into play. My first ally. I'm going to put Gaffer Gamgee into play. Now we're going to put a Dagger of Westernness onto Mary. Go over to the Rosie deck. Draw a card. Now we go into the questing phase. There's a total of 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 in the staging area. We're going to quest for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18. First card is a highway robber. We're going to exhaust Mary, lower our threat by 3. The second card is an East Road. We have to raise our threat by 2 or gain surge. Okay. So that added a total of 7 to the staging area, bringing it up to 11. So we quest successfully by 7. That clears out the 3 farthing stone. We raise our threat by 3 because we didn't put progress on the main quest, and then reduce it by 3 due to the 3 farthing stones effect. So we go to the next stage. (3A). The Shire has fallen under the sway of a gang of ruffians led by a man known as Sharky. Frodo and his friends must prepare Bywater and raise support to contest him. When revealed, randomly select 3 of the set-aside non-Doom side quests and put them into play. There's 7 side quests. We got Awake, Fire Foes Awake, 12 quest points. Encounter action, engage a ruffian enemy in the encounter discard pile. Any player may trigger this effect. Response: after the first player destroys an enemy, place 2 progress here. Then when the quest is defeated, flip it over. Rouse the Cottons, 6 quest points. While Rouse the Cottons is the current quest, allies can't commit to the quest. Muster the Tooks, X quest points for X's, 4 per player. While Muster the Tooks is the current quest, allies can't commit to the quest. When this is defeated, flip it over. (3B), 0 quest points. As soon as they saw how things were, most of them took off their feathers and joined the revolt, the Return of the King. Forced: after a side quest is defeated, search the encounter deck for a sheriff enemy and add it to the staging area. Shuffle the encounter deck. Forced: at the end of the round, place 1 resource token here and raise each player's threat by the total number of resource tokens here. Then the players may choose and advance to the next stage. So now we go to the questing phase. We're going to quest to the East Road. And then we're going to use Galadriel's ability to have the Hobbit deck draw a card and reduce the Rosie deck to draw a card and reduce their threat by 1. We don't need to engage any characters, but we're going to optionally engage the highway robber. And we get to draw a card and ready up Sam. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to return Gaffer to my hand to keep the highway robber from attacking. And now we're going to block the Feathered Cat Sheriff with Tom Cotton. No shadow, no damage. And then we're going to block the other Feathered Cat Sheriff engaged with the Rosie deck with Tom Cotton. Either raise your threat by 1 or exhaust a character. We're going to exhaust a character. We'll exhaust Falco. Now we're going to attack back, but there's nothing to attack back with that would deal him any damage. Because we explored a side quest. And there are no Feathered Cat Sheriffs left in the counter deck or the discard pile. So now we go to the combat phase. Actually, don't reduce my threat because I already did it once. So now we have to reach and engage a Feathered Cat Sheriff. We're going to optionally do it with the Hobbit deck, so we get to draw a card. Bywater Sheriff. It's getting a little crowded here with all these hobbits. They can really be bountiful when they join together. Deal out shadow cards. We're going to block with the Tom Cotton. No shadow, no damage. We're going to block with Tom Cotton. No shadow, no damage. Block with Tom Cotton. Deal 1 damage to the defending character. Raise your threat by 1. We'll raise our threat by 1. Now we go to the end of the round. We have to put a resource onto the main quest. Raise each player's threat by 4. Now we're going to go to the next stage. For A, the Battle of Bywater. When revealed, shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Remove each sheriff enemy in play, and then the counter deck and discard pile from the game. The first player searches the encounter deck and victory display for 1 copy of Gang of Ruffians and engages it. Then each player not engaged with a ruffian enemy searches the encounter deck for a ruffian enemy and engages it. Shuffle the encounter deck. Discard cards from the encounter deck until X enemies are discarded, and add those enemies to the staging area, where X is the number of encounter side quests in play. Well, there's no encounter side quest in play, so we don't have to get any other enemies. Well, there's search for the Gang of Ruffians and put it into play. Engage with the Hobbit deck. You draw a card. And now we're going to search for a highway robber and put that into play. Engage with the Rosie deck. And now 4B, 0 quest points. The ruffians could not now be cowered so easily. A few of them obeyed, but were immediately set on by other fellows. A score or more broke back and charged the wagons. The return of the king. Well, our ruffians, when any ruffians are in play that has any hit points remaining, all ruffian enemies gain indestructible. If there are no enemies in play, advance to the next stage. As well, any ruffian enemy in play has any remaining hit points. Mispronounced it. Okay, so we go to the end of the round. We have to raise threat by 1. And deal out resources. His lances. We're going to put a Thorngill onto Mary. And that reads, attached to a non-fellowship, non-Vagans hero you control. Response, after you attach Thorngill to a hero, search your collection for a different non-fellowship, non-Vagans version of that hero and attach it to Thorngill. While Thorngill is in play, attached hero gains the game text and resource icon of the attached hero card. If Thorngill leaves play, remove the hero card attached to it from the game. And we're attaching the tactics version of Mary. So Mary gains +1 attack for each Hobbit hero you control. And after Mary participates in an attack that destroys an enemy, ready another character that participated in that attack. So Mary gets plus. We're going to go over to the Rosie deck. Draw a card, Mira Galadriel. Why don't we go to the questing phase? There's a total of 3 in the staging area. We're going to quest for 5 because the red book. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14, 15. 16, 17. First card revealed is against the rules. Exhaust each character with a printed attack of 3 or more. Each player that exhausted no characters by this effect must choose and exhaust 1 character. So we're going to exhaust Ioris and the Warden of Healing. Oh, these guys should have been removed from the game. And second card, a Hobbiton Road. So we added 2 threats, so we quest successfully. Now go to the combat phase. First, do we want to travel? Let's travel to the Wooded Shed. So we deal out shadow cards. We only have a gang of ruffians over here, and we only have a highway robber over here. We're going to block the attack by returning Gaffer to my hand. And then we're going to block with Tom Cotton. Sting deals no damage and no shadow. And then we're going to attack this gang of ruffians with Mary, who's attacking for 5, 6, 7. 8, 9, 10, 11. Put 8 damage onto the gang of ruffians. And then we're going to attack over to the Rosie deck, and we're attacking for both the Hobbit archers that are attacking for 4 together. So that's 4. Falco makes 5, 6, and that's enough to put 3 damage onto the highway robber. And now all enemies in play have damage equal to hit points. So they're all removed, discarded from play. And we go to the next round, or stage. 5A, the very last stroke. With Sharky's forces scattered, Frodo sets out to confront him. To Frodo's surprise, he is greeted by none other than Saruman, with Grima Wormtongue cowering nearby. When revealed, if it is the combat phase and the phase, add Saruman and Grima's choice to the staging area. There's Saruman and Grima's choice. "5B, X quest points, where X is 6 per player. You are wise and cruel. You have robbed my revenge of sweetness, and now I must go hence to bitterness. Saruman, the Return of the King. Action. Exhaust a hero and discard 1 resource token from its pool to add 1 resource to Saruman. This stage cannot be defeated while Saruman is in play. When this stage is defeated, the players win the game." And Grima's Choice is a side quest that has X quest points, where X is 3 per player. This stage can't be chosen as a side quest while the very last stroke has any hit points remaining. And when this stage is defeated, you discard Saruman from play. So we have to get 12 progress on the very last stroke. And the key with this is you can't put more progress on to the very last stroke than there are resources on Suramon. So we need to get up to 12 resources onto Suramon. He's got 6 now from being nice and giving him some pipeweed at the beginning. So what we're going to do now, because we're past the combat phase, we're going to exhaust, marry, and put 1 resource onto Suramon. Exhaust Tom Cotton and put 1 resource onto Suramon. Exhaust Frodo, put 1 resource on Suramon and deal him a damage. And exhaust Rosie, put 1 resource onto Suramon. So he's now up to 10 resources. And during the staging area, he has a forced ability that you reveal a card from the Sharky deck and add 1 resource per player. So all I need to do is add 1 questing phase, and I'll have enough to put enough progress on the very last stroke. So now we go to the end of the round. Raise each player's threat by 1. Draw a card out of the wild. We're going to play an out of the wild. And search the top 5 cards of the deck for an encounter card and remove it from the game. We're going to get rid of Take Them Lads. And we're going to play another Out of the Wild. And get rid of the East Road. Now we're going to go over to the Hobbit deck. Draw a card. Curious Halfling. I'm going to put Gapper into play. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Four cards in the victory display that have no victory points, so Keena's Lances costs 1. We're going to play Keena's Lances. We're going to use 1 of Sam's resources to pay for that. Now we're going to add 2 resources to Mary. Now we're going to pay 2 resources and put a unexpected courage into play. And put that on the Galadriel. Now we go to the combat phase, the questing phase. We're going to quest for one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 16, 17, 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 27, 28, 29. 30, 31. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. That should be enough. And there's a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the staging area. First card is Lock Holes. Remove all attachments and discard all tokens from the highest cost ally you control and attach it face down under the lock holes. So that is Arwen. Now, second card is another lock holes. Well, that is going to be Halfast Gamgee. So that added a total of 4 threats to the staging area, bringing it up to 12. But now at the end of the staging step, we add 1 resource per player to Saruman and reveal the top card of the Sharky deck. Then put the revealed card at the bottom of the Sharky deck. And this effect can't be cancelled. Saruman's last stroke. Curse upon the Shire. When revealed, each player must choose either raise your threat by 1 for each ally you control, or discard 2 allies. I am going to raise my threat by 3 for the Hobbit deck, and I can discard 2 allies with the Hobbit deck. So we quested successfully by 26. So that clears the active location and puts 22 or 21 progress onto the main quest. And now we have enough to travel to we're going to have enough to be able to pick the Grima's Choice as our next side quest for the next round. So Tiffin gets a resource. I'm going to use Galadriel's ability to have the Rosie deck draw a card and reduce their threat by 1. Now we go to the next round. Hopefully it'll be the last one. Raise each player's threat by 1. Draw a card. Halfling Bounder. I'm going to put a Halfling Bounder into play. We're going to say there's a good harvest lore. We're going to put a Curious Halfling into play. And now we get a look at the top card of the main deck. And if it's not an enemy, we get a draw card. It's not an enemy, so we get a draw card. We're going to put another Halfling Bounder into play. Then we're going to put a Bywater Sheriff into play. Now we're going to go over to the Rosie deck, draw a card. Now we're just going to go to the questing phase. We're going to pick Grima's Choice as the main quest. And we're going to quest for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. Hopefully that'll be enough. So reveal the first card, East Road. We have to raise our threat by 2. And the second card is Awake Lads, or Take Them Lads. We're going to cancel that effect. The Test of Will. And now comes to the last straw. Sharky's going to try one last stroke. And it's To the Road Again, Worm. When revealed, discard cards from the encounter deck until a location is discarded, and add that location to the staging area, and deal X damage among characters in play, where X is twice the number of locations in play. So there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have to put out 14 damage. Let's just count it up here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There we go. Swept out all these cards. We minused off 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 willpower, bringing us down to 35. Nice try, but too little and too late. And there's a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19 in the staging area. So we quest successfully by 16. And that clears the Grimace choice and removes Saruman from play. So there's a win. Hope you enjoyed my campaign. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next journey. Final score was 160, and I'm going to say the MVPs were the Fast Hitch for the Rosie deck and Gapper for the Hobbit deck. Gapper prevented those ruffians from attacking, and the Fast Hitch gave multiple defenses for Tom Cotton.